The one thing they don't have here, and it's so interesting. Excuse me. I haven't looked at the numbers to see who makes use of the VA loan more, veterans or people who are still in the military, active duty, in short. But if you're a veteran, maybe not now because they got rid of the compensation amount for tinnitus. But when it says here there's 1.25% or 3.3% for the funding fee, you get the lower amount, the 1.25%. It depends on how much you put down, but in short, there are ranges or tiers, however you want to look at it, of percentages that you'll pay for the funding fee. And the lowest you'll pay is the very first time in short, regardless if you put 5% or 10% down or 10% or more. I think it's 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10 or more. Those are the tiers. And based off of whatever tier you fall in, that's the percentage you're going to pay. And they have a first time rate, which is the lowest. Then they have your second, 2+ more times. Second or more is always the same. The rate you'll pay for the funding fee, your second time you buy a house is going to be the same, unless they change the rates, but it's going to be the same tier or section the third time you buy your house. But the main thing that I'm trying to get to here is that for people who are veterans, we're saying here, veterans, not all, but like 99% of veterans who qualify for VA disability compensation, you don't have to pay that because the minimum you need. So if you're a disabled veteran, you don't have to pay the funding fee because the funding fee is waived if you're receiving any compensation from the VA. And you would think it would have to be higher. We'll talk about how my wife is 100% PNT. You don't need to be 100% PNT to have the funding fee waived. You only need to be 10%. And for those who don't know, 10% is the lowest rating a veteran can get. And most, not all, but most veterans, I would say, most veterans who qualify for disability compensation, if they qualify for it, if they get any compensation at all, they're going to be getting at least 10%. So for veterans, now, if you're enlisted or active duty, however you want to look at it, they're not going to be able to avoid the funding fee. And that's the thing. So a lot of times where people decide, to do their 20 or more, they end up getting married, having kids, all that type of stuff, having a family. And so you're moving every 4 years, whatever it is, every 2 years, however often you're moving. Not a lot of times, but people will end up buying houses while they're doing this. And some of them is, so they can get into the real estate just naturally, whatever it is, but they end up buying houses. But you're not going to be here for 10 years, let alone 30. You're not going to be in here for 30 years. Most people don't stay in the military for 30 years. You're going to either have to sell this house or you keep it. And the benefit, again, of this VA loan is what? You don't have to put any money down. And then on top of that, for service members, in short, they have guaranteed income, right? We know they're going to get paid. And so on top of that, they get the housing allowance, all these different type of things. And so this funding fee allows the VA to continue, in short, keep churning out these loans. And the service members are the main ones who are going to be paying that because, hey, you got your first house, you're paying, let's say, 1.25%. Then you got to go and get your second house. And let's just say these aren't the exact numbers that you would pay. But now you get your second house. Since it's your second one, you don't get the lowest rate because you already did your first time loan. So now you got to pay the second, your second time or more. And then let's say it's 3.3% that you're paying for the funding fee. And so imagine if you move 4 or 5 times. So my dad and my mom moved. I can't remember the order, but my dad was stationed in Virginia, Kentucky, Kansas, Hawaii, Arizona, and Maryland. So he moved all those, and he was, he lived in North Carolina originally. So he moved from North Carolina to I forgot Kansas. So I think he moved from North Carolina to Kansas to Virginia to Kentucky to Hawaii, Arizona to Maryland. All right, so was that 5-6 times that he moved? Imagine buying a house every single time you're paying a funding fee every time you move, right? And then, you extrapolate that across the entire military. All right. But again, for disabled veterans, they're not paying that at all. So in short, if my wife and I end up using the VA loan, we're not paying the funding fee. And we're not paying the property taxes because my wife 100% PNT, but this is just about not having to pay the funding fee at all. So in short, now we still put money down, but in short, what this means is not only we will be able to not put any money down, and we wouldn't have to pay any PMI because we don't have to pay the funding fee. In short, the funding fee is the PMI, right? We're talking about PMI when you hear people talk about mortgages. So disabled veterans are in a situation where they can avoid not only PMI altogether, regardless of how much money they put down, and no property taxes. All right, very advantageous for veterans here. Up next, USDA loans, which I know less and less about compared to the VA loans. U.S. Department of Agriculture guarantees USDA home loans for lower to moderate income buyers, people who don't have any money, purchasing homes in specifically defined rural areas, places that ain't got no Wi-Fi that's jumping like that. These loans don't require a down payment, but there's an upfront guarantee fee of 1% of the principal loan amount, as well as an annual fee of 0.35%, which you can roll into the cost of the mortgage. I don't like the annual fee. 1% of the principal amount for every $100,000 is $1,000. Excuse me, every $100,000 is $100. No, 1,000 is right. Yeah, 1,000 is right. So they got to just pay $1,000 per 100K to take out. Not sure how that annual fee of 0.35% works. Let's say you can roll into the cost of the mortgage. It's an annual fee. So they just extrapolate it and they put it. I don't know. Anyways, other zero down mortgage options. If you're not military or buying a USDA rural area, you might still be eligible for a no down payment mortgage. United Wholesale Mortgage, for example, offers low to moderate income borrowers. Again, people with no money. Why say low to moderate? Just tell us how much what their income is. Was it less than 50K? Conventional mortgage, and by the way, less than 50K. And then we're talking about these rural areas, depending on what state it's in. If we're talking about, damn, West Virginia, might be $20,000, $30,000 they're talking about here. So they're getting offered low to moderate income borrowers, conventional mortgages paired with a no interest payment deferred loan that covers a 3% down payment on homes priced up to five. Hold on. Homes priced up to 500K. This is the type of stuff I can't deal with. If this is for low to moderate income borrowers, why is it going up to $500,000? New York-based Sunmark Credit Union offers a no down payment option that allows the home sellers to cover 3% minimum down payment required. If you're low to moderate, I don't know what moderate is here, but if you're lower income, why are you trying to get to 500K? Even if you're at the top, you're at the moderates, but you do not need to be moderate and doing 500K. Unless you're living in like California, like places where, the average home in California is over $1 million, the whole states, If you don't qualify for no down payment program through your lender, your family or a friend might be willing to gift you a 3% down payment. If so, you won't have to put any of your own money down. However, you might have to worry about, the gift tax. Well, you won't, but the person gifting you that money. Because 3% of 500,000 up is 15. So yeah, that should be good there. Anyways,